What's up, guys? It's Cole from Higher Perspective Photography, and today we're going to be talking about filters for photography, specifically filters that fit into something like this. This is a Koken Z Pro filter holder, and it holds filters like this. These are ND filters that are graduated so that you can slide them onto the camera, and it will allow you to essentially make certain parts of the image darker, something like sky, for instance. Which allows you to get higher dynamic range in your shots, kind of the old-fashioned way like people used to do it, where essentially you're just part of the area is exposing less because you have a piece of dark glass in front of it. Now, these filter holders, these Koken filter holders, come basically in where you buy this main holder itself, which can be extended. So there's these individual holders here, if you can see that. These individual slides. Each one of these will hold a filter, and you can extend it out to put as many filters as you want to really kind of fine-tune your shot if you have enough filters. Obviously, the more you overlap, the darker it's going to get, but some people can use that artistically, and they can do it quite well. So basically, this is the main holder itself, and then it has these individual rings. I have one more for a larger thread. That goes with my dad's Nikon lenses that he uses something like this on. But this fits all of my micro four thirds lenses, this is the 58mm ring that fits my 12 to 35, 35 to 100, and actually most micro four thirds lenses fit this thread, which is very, very nice. So I'm going to slide that back on there, and the way that slides in is there's basically another one of those little holders on the back that the filter would go into. And it just slides in, and then these two little pins come back and lock it into place so that it doesn't go anywhere. Now, on these filters, the thing about these is these are not cheap. They're good glass. They tend to not lose that much optical quality, but they are not cheap. This is Tiffin, or this one is from Lee Filters. So this is a 0.6 ND hard. So basically the way that these NDs work is, so the 0.6 is darker, so it's the amount of stops. So this is 0.6 of a stop less light. I might be wrong on that. I think it's actually 6 stops. I think 0.6 means 6 stops less light, or something like that. I apologize, I'm not really good on the scale, but basically the higher the number on the filter, the darker it is. And then this is a Grad ND hard, which basically means that it's graduated, so it fades from clear to dark. And then hard means that it's a hard fade. It's not, now if you look at it, the fade is not like a hard line, but it's still it fades quickly in. I've got some other filters here, and I have for this holder I have I think 5 filters. And I'll just tell you what I've got here. So I've got, as the holder falls on the ground, I've got this Lee 0.6 ND filter. Then I've got 4 Koken filters that are kind of designed for the Z Pro system. So basically Z Pro, it's 100mm is what the filter is. So I have a neutral gray ND2. So this is just actually a square filter. This is not as long as the other ones. And this is just a square ND2. I have a Grad neutral gray G2 soft. So this is graduated. G2 though is interesting. I'm not really sure why they do that, because I don't know why it's ND2, but this is graduated. Let me just take it out of the holder here just to get a look at it, to kind of see what that even means. This is darker, isn't it? That's darker, I think. Let's compare. So we can learn, you can learn with me. I can't tell. So this is the G2. What does it say? Yes, this is ND8. This is ND6. This is ND8. So this is harder. So the G2, I'm not so sure why it says that. That's a weird label. I think that's the only filter that I have that uses that label, that G2. We've had these filters for a while. We actually got these, and we got that thread for the Red Epic when we were still using Nikon lenses. Well, we still do use Nikon lenses, but we got that to fit on the front. And I have ones that go in a matte, filters that go in a matte box, and I'll show you those in a second. So I've got that, which is that is called a Grad Neutral Gray G2 Soft. So that's a soft fade. This is a neutral gray ND4. So this is an ND4. So this is a 0.6. Or sorry, this is a 0.4. So like Lee just uses that point, but essentially this is an ND4. And that's another square filter. And then this is a neutral gray G2 medium. So this is Grad Neutral Gray G2. So we're going to look at what that is too. G2 medium, so that probably means a medium fade. And if I look at this is an ND4, which looks darker. I don't know. This is an ND4 with a medium fade, basically. So, I don't have a Lee Big Stopper. I want to get a Lee Big Stopper. I really, really, really do. I want to get one of those so that I can do long exposure photography. But unfortunately, right now, I don't have kind of the money to buy one. They're expensive filters. They're big, and I wouldn't use it that much, so that's why I haven't gotten one of those. Now, I've got these other filters. Now, I took the one out of the box so I can show you, but these are Tiffin filters designed for matte boxes. These, if you want an expensive filter, these are about $400 a pop. This one in particular here, so these go into matte boxes, like this. This is an O'Connor matte box that goes on a Red Epic. Well, it doesn't have to go, but for us it goes on a Red Epic. And this one in particular is a, which one is this? This is, I believe, a 6 ND. It doesn't even say on the thing. Yes, this is a 6. This is a thick piece of glass. This weighs more than the Kokken filter holder, the Z Pro filter holder that goes in the front of my GH4 and the Nikon cameras. This is a heavy piece of glass. They are expensive and they are thick, and they slide into, I wonder if one's in the camera, I think it is, or in the matte box. They slide into, and did you hear that? That hit the metal cheese plate on top of the matte box. Oh, it's locked in place. That would help if I did that. They slide into these. These are the holders, and it kind of slides in there, then pops in there. And I'm going to be careful, but essentially it holds it in there, and this thing's dirty as hell. But you would wash it off. And imagine this is attached to the front of the camera. This slides in. I line up the slot and drops in front. And then you don't want to do what my dad did. We had our Red Epic, well, we had the matte box and everything. So basically, actually, when this happened, we had rented this exact O'Connor matte box. We were renting some gear because we had a bunch of like regular photography equipment that we were using in the Red Epic, and we were ready to get some like actual cinema gear. We were renting some gear from Borrow Lenses. We had an O'Connor matte box with us, and basically, long story short, my dad didn't lock down. It wasn't over the rails. So if you know a cinema camera, you have the rails on it that like hold everything together. So you stack everything on those rails. Basically, the rails weren't underneath this, which they don't need to be. But we had a long lens. We had our 18 to 85 red cine lens on there, which is huge. And it basically it wasn't over there, and my dad didn't lock it down. And this thing has a lot of weight to it. Filter holder slides. That is one thing about the O'Connor matte box, is it has a hole in the bottom, so you can slide stuff in through the bottom, I guess. But it slid straight through and broke a $300 filter before we had even used it for anything important. So basically, yeah, you want to be careful with these. But these are less relevant, but just to show you kind of where filters like this, these kind of sheet filters come from. They come from the cinema world, where you have these filters that slide into your matte boxes. And a lot of people will think that the matte boxes are just sunshades. They're just really fancy, really expensive sunshades. And while there is some truth to that, it's not exactly how it is. I mean, they hold the filters, and the point of the matte box is you've got a big piece of glass in the front, which doesn't have necessarily the optical anti-reflective coatings that a lens does. And essentially what you're doing is you put a donut in here to like fit the size of your lens. So that's one of the things, like you look at cinema lenses, like compact primes and things like that, they're all the same front. So basically the amount that they take up in the front, that front piece, even if the glass is this big, of a giant front piece on it, so that you can, so that basically the thread's the same, you don't need different, what they call donuts. But essentially you'd put a donut in here that slides snug up against the lens and kind of wraps around it to keep any light from getting into the back. And then this, I've taken the flags off, but there's this one, which is the top, and then there's two that go on the sides. And basically they can be used to block the sun off the front so that the filter just is kind of its own thing. So that's what the matte box is. It holds filters and things like that in place. I mean, these are really well engineered. These are very expensive, but you actually, if you look at one of these things up close, the engineering, the CNCing in making these is pretty incredible. I mean, and they go all the way up to Red makes a carbon fiber matte box and stuff like that for, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. And even this one I have right here, this O'Connor, is a few grand. Now I want to show you. This is, here it is. I want to show you just what a Grad ND looks like for a cinema camera. See how it's sideways? It's different. Now these filters are dirty. I don't know why, but this is a Tiffin Clear ND 0.6. So this is a 0.6 ND. Soft. I can't even read what that says. But something ND. Now the thing about these is, depending on the size of your front element, you may have to slide the filter all the way into the matte box in order to make it look good. Because unless you're zooming into the center, you will notice, especially with that big hard edge on the glass, you will notice if, like, let's say you only have half of it in there because you only need the top of, like, the very top of the sky to have an ND on it. You will notice that edge, so that's why, so you kind of sometimes have to slide it in all the way. But that's not super important for what we're talking about here. So now I'm going to go back to the photo stuff, and I just wanted to show you kind of the cinema filters. But now we're going to go back to the photo filters, I guess you could call it, and talk about how those are used. So basically, let me get out that Tiffin, or the Lee filter, sorry. Now, Lee is probably your most popular. I mean, I'm not talking about circular filters. I'm talking about these. So circular polarizers, circular NDs. Those are really cool. Those allow, like, if you need to just ND your entire shot, you know, put an ND on your entire shot. Those are really nice. This is more for, like, landscape photography and things like that. That's what this is useful for. So basically, we're going to talk about how to use it. So let's say this is screwed on the front of your lens, and this part rotates. So, like, here's the center ring. This will rotate around that. So that, let's say, you know, where my fingers is the top of the lens. So, like, you're holding it, and that's the top of the lens, and you slide your ND filter in here. And let's say you're taking a shot, and the mountains are kind of coming this way through the shot. Like, you got, like, your, like, landscape scene down here, but then there's some mountains coming, like, down through the shot or something, you know, and then you got sun all through, like, sky and everything all through here. What you can do is you can turn the, so let me hold the thing again. You can turn the filter and then slide it so that it kind of maybe lines up with the slope of the mountains coming down and is only, like, darkening the sky. So that's something that you could do. And I know some people that use these and kind of use them to stack up different areas to get it so that it's perfectly exposed in camera. There's no post-production that needs to be done, which is something obviously that you could do on film. Now, obviously in film there's dodging and burning in the darkroom, and if you scan it nowadays, you can do your digital work. That's my film workflow, is it's a kind of hybrid digital and analog workflow. I take the images on film, and then put them in the computer, high res. I have a nice Epson V700 scanner. So scan them, then they're on the computer now, and I can do adjustments there. But in the darkroom you can dodge and burn, but this is like a way of getting it right in camera. And this also helps just to increase the dynamic range of your camera. I mean, it makes a better image in the end because you're not messing with it and kind of cheating, and like you can cause digital artifacting, especially in lower end cameras. So this is something like maybe if you're kind of really happy with the camera that you do have. Let's say you bought a lower end camera and you've obviously first I'd say buy a good lens, and so now you've got some good lenses. Because this is probably a smart upgrade cycle. Is let's say you buy a low-end camera, then you buy some good lenses, and you're doing landscape photography. I'd say the next thing to get is these, which really, especially on lower-end cameras, the dynamic range of those sensors they're good, but they're not great. So that just kind of really helps out and allows you to get a better shot and better dynamic range in the camera, so that you're not doing as much work in post-production, which could cause issues with artifacting and things like that. But yeah, these are really good. They'll last you forever. I mean, it's the same as a lens. There's no technology in here to go out of date. I mean, yeah, in lenses there is technology to go out of date, but good glass is good glass, especially nowadays. I mean, you look at Leica, that glass, their optical designs are 50 years old. I mean, their Nordicon lenses, they're still manual focus. You throw them on, a Leica M240 or anything like that, and you're going to get incredibly sharp images. Glass really just doesn't go out of date. I mean, obviously Micro Four Thirds glass and autofocusing sensors and all that changes, but in the end, glass is going to last you a lot longer than a camera body is. It's the exact same thing with this. Buy good filters, good stuff your first time around, so that you don't have to keep doing it again and end up wasting money. So basically, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry I didn't cover anything that just kind of straight up screws on the front of your lens. There are a lot of videos out there on that, so go find them somewhere else. If you want me to make one, I'll make one. But at the point where this channel is right now, I'm probably not going to get any comments or anything on this video, but I do want to grow the channel. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, remember to hit the like button. Maybe share it if you want to share it to some of your friends. And also subscribe to the channel. So thank you guys for watching. This is another video from Hired for Photography, and I will see you on the next video.